Jaccob Slavin remains awesome.
I mean, that has not changed.
Hasn't changed in a while. I don't anticipate
why
it.
it would.
I don't anticipate it changing for a while. But I do
Not for
feel
a decade.
I do feel like there's a hint more depth we could have gone to yesterday. Because yesterday during Storm Tracker, we talked about Elliot Friedman, national NHL reporter, suggesting that 8 years, $6.5 million was per year. 8 years, $6.5 million per year. It's an important little caveat. Was his projection for a long-term deal between Jaccob Slavin and the Carolina Hurricanes, which Slavin becomes eligible to sign that deal July 1. And we talked about it. We brought it up. And I'm going to do my best impression of Dennis and I during that segment. Woo! Yay!
Make it happen.
And that was about as deep as it got, right? It was
Pretty
like,
much.
it was sign it now. You want my pen? You want your pen? You want his pen? We can sign. You should break your pen as you're writing it so fast to sign that contract.
Should I sign it in blood?
Yeah, exactly. We did that, but then, as I try to make sure we hit the why. And I don't know if we hit the why yesterday. So, I don't want anybody, and by the way, I say this for everything. I don't want you to just trust us just to trust us, right? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you do trust us. But I always want to explain, right? It's like when, in this job, occasionally people will come up to you and go, "Hey, I want to bet on the game. What should I bet on?" I never, ever just go like, home team, lay the points. Because then if I'm wrong, I feel really, really bad. So what I do is I explain both sides of a bet, right? I go like, well, if you're interested, well, here's why the over might hit, here's why the under might hit. Which of those explanations did you like more? Then it's like they're making the choice, right? So instead of me just telling you, locking up Jaccob Slavin to a long-term deal is a great thing for the Carolina Hurricanes, and just saying, great, awesome, great, over and over again, I'm going to give you some of the why, right? And then hopefully you can agree or disagree with our explanation. It is important to build your roster around certain benchmarks, right? When you are signing the quote-unquote role players to deals to term, right? Whether if it's a 3-year deal, a 4-year deal, an 8-year deal, you have to know where the stars sit as far as cap, as far as how much they'll count against the salary cap. Because what might happen is you sign Jaccob Slavin, you sign Seth Jarvis, you already have Svetch, you already have Aho, you might not be able to afford all your role players. And matter of fact, this offseason is kind of the culmination of that. What you don't want to have happen is you sign the role players, you sign the role players, you sign the role players, until all of a sudden you're like, oh no, we can't afford the star, right? There has to be a domino where the big domino falls first. Jaccob Slavin is a big domino. He is wildly important. I didn't think Slavin for 6.5 per year was possible. If it is, that can literally change plans. You might be able to afford things that you didn't think you could afford. It's thinking like, imagine you're putting away money for a college fund for your kid and you want them to have all the options, right? So you're putting aside a lot of money and then they decide to go to like an in-state school that's cheaper than you thought. Well, guess what? That surplus money you saved, you can go spend on something else. All right, Dennis, you can go get a motorcycle.
I can get another one. Let's go.
you can go on a sweet vacation.
Hey, let's get that boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like that can happen. Slavin, if you were putting away $8 million a year for Jaccob Slavin, and then it happens, the market moves, whatever, he ends up going to the state school and he only costs $6.5 million. Maybe you call up Brady Shea. Hey, you know what? We didn't think we were going to be able to afford you. We just found another $1.5 million a year. Does that change things? No? Sorry. Click. All right, Pesci. We just found another. It changes things.
Hey, Seth Jarvis. Hey, you know what?
We just found, or even if you can split it up, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Martinook, we found you another extra $500,000. Jarvis, we found you an extra $1 million a year. How does that feel? There it is. Eric Tulsky, the new GM. We're going to be talking about him throughout the next couple of days. He is the permanent GM. His introductory press conference was yesterday.
He'll join us tomorrow at 3:30, by the way.
Who will join us tomorrow? Yeah, talking about him. We'll be talking with him over the next couple of days here at 3:30 tomorrow. He said there are guys he doesn't want to get to July, right? He doesn't want free agents to test the market. $1 million a year that you found by agreeing, and I know you can't sign it July 1st, but you can agree to it with Slavin. You can wink, wink, nod, nod. This is what it is. If you find $1 million a year, that might be the difference between one of those free agents saying, yeah, I'll sign right now, or, you know what, I will test the market. Also, and this is where we're combining multiple conversations from this week, look at the Celtics. Now, everything is not going to be an apples-to-apples comparison between the NBA and NHL, but kind of, 1,000 yards above bird's eye view, look at the Celtics. They made it to the postseason every year. Conference final, loss. Second round, loss. Conference final, loss. First round, loss. Second round, loss. Conference final, loss. Final, loss. Finally got over the hump. And they were the mark of patience, right? They didn't break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They stuck the course with their main core. But just the main core.
Pieces around it all changed.
They tried a bunch of different ways. There was the Marcus Smart years. Al Horford was there a couple different times.
Yeah.
They had a whole shifting process to get to where they are now. Now, there's more people on an NHL team, so the core is going to be more than two. I'm looking at the core of the Canes, and I'm saying Aho, Svech, Jarvis, Slavin. With a spot that I'm reserving for Kochetkov if he plays really, really well this year. Those 4 or 5 would be the pieces that you'd have locked up, hopefully, with Jarvis, hopefully with Slavin, and then if Kochetkov plays well, hopefully with Kochetkov, you'd have them locked up for the next 5, 6, 7 years, which means you could shift everything around them. You could try with Robert Williams. That didn't work. All right, let's go for Kristaps Porzingis. Right? You can try it in different ways, knowing this core we're not going to give up on. But the only way you have that certainty is by signing long-term deals. And as Dennis likes to remind me every time we talk about a Jaccob Slavin deal, his game's going to age all right.
Oh, yeah. Quite well.
He's not, he's, again, another cross-sport reference. He's more wide receiver than running back. Right? Wide receivers can play twice as long as a running back, and you feel more comfortable giving them long-term deals because of style of play and hits taken and everything. Jaccob Slavin's going to be fine there, barring the unusual, right? Obviously, there's always the completely unexpected, but playing the percentages, he's going to be fine aging into his mid to late 30s. So do it now. That's why. Right? That's why when we bring up a Jaccob Slavin contract that seems under market value, both Dennis and I go, yes, 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 do it right now.